Alright guys, today we're going to do another episode of What's in the Box. We've got several projects and we're steadily getting new parts coming in, and what we're doing, you may have already heard me mention this before, but what we're doing on a lot of the stuff, we're just trying the cheaper, no-name, off-brand parts, just so we can give you some feedback on whether this stuff works or not, and you can see what we've bought, what application it's for, whatever, and see the fitment on it, so that way you guys can get a little feedback on if you may want to, buy some of like a cheaper radiator or fan shroud, or just any of the accessories or parts, radiator hoses, a lot of that stuff, and see what we've purchased and see how it fits on our applications. That way, if you're debating on buying it, you'll see how it fit for us and how it worked for us, and that may help you decide whether you want to buy the cheaper thing or not. So we're actually going to do reviews on some of the items we've bought and let you know kind of how fitment went, and just give you some feedback on whether it's worth the money or not. And we have several different applications. I mean, we've got some 350Zs, G35s, we got a Lexus SC300, a IS300, we've got a 06 GMC Canyon, 02, 04, whatever it is. We've got some Honda Civics, 92 hatchback, we've got a 99 Civic, we've got some Tahoes and some other stuff. And as we buy some of these products, we'll show you, kind of out of the box. It's why we call it, what's in the box. And we'll pull it out and give you our first opinion of, the quality as it comes out of the box. Is it junk? Is it solid? Is it, what it needs to be and the condition it needs to be in. So stay tuned. Here we go with our next episode of What's in the Box. All right, so these are our two boxes. We don't have a lot today. We do have a couple of items though. But let's just dive right into it and see what we got. Let's see what's in the box. And if you've been keeping up with any of the videos we've done, you may have an idea of some of the stuff we're needing and we're getting as we go here. But this is a cooling fan, which it got dirty this morning on the right end. So we ordered a cooling fan. I think this is for the IS300. So let's get it out of the box and let's see what we got. The box was kind of tore open as we got it, so that I didn't actually pre-open this. This was, now I don't know if that was them boxing it or my son may have got a hold of it before I've seen it. But here we go. And there's more box stuff. All right, so what we've got now on the IS300s, the actual reservoir for the coolant is made with the fan shroud. So it's actually built right in on that body of the fans, of the actual shroud itself. The problem we were having is this was busted. The car had been crashed a little bit in the front, and I think this thing was actually cracked or busted or something, so we had to get a new one. We were going to get one of the aluminum fan shrouds like we did on the 350Z, which if you've already seen that, you'll know what we got there, but we got the aluminum instead of this plastic. We got the thin aluminum fan shroud on this. And the only reason we didn't get one is the company we were looking at didn't actually have any in stock. We may go ahead and change it later, just to get the car driving and where we can put some miles on it and see what all else it needs. We decided to go ahead and just get this thing and get it together so we can drive it, and we'll pick up the aftermarket style fan later. But this is just one of the OE factory replacements. So at first glance, it looks pretty solid. I mean, it looks of the same quality as of what the factory one was that we had taken off, which obviously it doesn't have the damage that the one we took off did. But looking at it, at first glance, it really looks like a solid piece. It looks constructed well. all the molding and the hardened plastic looks correct. Let's turn it around here. Yeah, and see, the thing that concerns me with this type of thing is, you know, if the companies make a lot of them or hadn't done a lot of retooling, you'll hear it called, where they don't change the equipment as the molds they pour the plastic in and all that type of stuff. If they don't clean it or don't have enough quality control, well, some of the features start being not correct from the original design. So, you know, maybe the tabs may not fit, or maybe some of the pieces not located or in the right place, or maybe some of the seams where the cap to this piece fits on. Some of that may be, you know, not sealed correctly or something. There may be, you know, issues with the fans themselves. But at first glance, again, it looks correct. It looks like that's just as good a quality as the original design. So, in my opinion, would I buy this, the cheap version of it, off the internet? Yeah, I would. Would I say that, you know, would I tell you that it's okay to buy this product from visually speaking? Yes, I would say yes. I would feel comfortable saying that if you were interested in buying one of these, I think you'll be okay with it. But at the same time, we've not installed it, and we've not plugged it in, and we've not had it on our application just yet as far as the actual function of the, you know, what it's there to do. But we'll get down to that eventually. But visually, first glance, would I buy this? Yes, this product is what it's supposed to be. It looks correct. It's made somewhat decent. It doesn't have any major defects that just stand out. I did see right here, there's this cap to this piece. There's a little bit of a gap right there. Now, I'll check that, but that may be a potential leak in the top of this piece. But I don't know that that's not sealed to the body itself, and that just holds it in place. I'll have to check that, kind of keep that in mind, but it does have a little gap right here at the top of this reservoir, and this seam right here is kind of a little bit open. But we'll have to get further into that once we start filling it up. See, there may be even a gap here. So that's something we'll have to check. And if we just have to put like maybe some silicone or some kind of glue in it, and that's all we have to do for the price, $100 versus like $500 for the factory, yeah, I can live with that. But if it leaks and it doesn't hold the coolant as it should, then yeah, we have a problem. So then we'll have to actually get into it. But if it's repairable or something we can fix in-house, it's worth the $100. So yeah. All right, the next item is the G Plus aluminum radiator. Now, we bought the hoses and for a Civic, and the hoses actually turned out really, really nice. They look good, they fit well. I didn't think they would fit well when I first got them, but after I started putting them on, everything was just about perfect actually. And it did come with the hose clamps that have the Phillips screw, which is a lot easier than the flat. So yeah, so far we've had good luck out of this stuff. And this, if I'm not mistaken, is the radiator for the IS300. We did opt to go ahead and get an aluminum radiator on the IS300, just because, I mean, we wanted to try this brand out. So let's see what first glance is, what kind of condition it is out of the box. Now, keep in mind, we may have issues, you know, when we unpack some of this stuff that may be out of the manufacturer's control, you know, maybe damage through shipping or something. And that will be outside of the manufacturer's control. So we may run into that at some point. packaged well. It's got the real nice plastic, their logo on the plastic. Looks really nice. The cardboard was wrapped really well. There wasn't a lot of room for it to shift around and possibly get damaged in shipping. Definitely packaged well. Looks pretty good. And you gotta think too, you know, even your higher end brands had to start somewhere. So there may be like an extremely high quality company just selling their items at a cut, you know, rate right now, just making minimal profit just to put their items out there. And I have ran into some off-brand companies that have really, really nice products. You know, so a lot of your name brands on the market that you buy and the big high dollar stuff had to start somewhere. So some of those guys may have sold at a lower rate to get their foot in the door. And so far, like I say, this G Plus stuff has actually surprised me. If it's going to be anything like the radiator hoses, I think it will be a good product. It comes with a cap, extremely nice radiator cap. I don't know if you can see that, but it is a nice aftermarket cap. Now, you can see where they did take a tool and clean up their welds, and that some of the heat pushed back the chroming of the aluminum. The welds, I do see some pits in the welds. As far as visual quality, it looks pretty good, which you're not going to see this a lot anyway. The purpose of this is to keep the engine cooler, primarily as long as it does its job, but at the same time, you want to unbox something that gives you that warm fuzzy feeling that you're not going to have a radiator start pouring that you've just spent a bunch of money on. But at the same time, you get what you pay for, and a lot of times too. But the cap is really nice. I like that. The cap is really nice. So definitely the cap is something if you want to get one of those from G Plus. The overall look of it's pretty good. The welding though, I'm going to be honest, the welding does have some porosity in it. And if you don't know what porosity is in welds, that's just little holes and pits that house just trash, just things, that's impurities is what it's called. So I do see some porosity, and some of the weld is questionable in a few spots. I'm gonna say I don't think it'll leak. I think it'll be okay, but we're gonna give it a shot. But I will keep my eye out on this radiator. There's a few little imperfections on your start stops, they're called, you know, you start and stop again at the same location. Like here, and right there's a start stop. And so when they get too far apart on a start stop, you may have the potential of having a hole, or as this start stop is quite a bit separated. But overall, I mean, for the money, if it holds and it works, and it don't look that bad, as long as your holes line up to everything you're trying to mount and have on there. Matter of fact, these parts actually go together, so this will be the time it'll tell right now. What did I do with, let's see if our holes line up, because these parts actually go in the same car. Okay, so already the holes aren't lining up. So there's a 1/2 inch gap at the top between the holes, and at the bottom the piece is hitting right here, so we're gonna have to notch the fan there, and the holes aren't lining up, so we won't be able to bolt all the bolts in. And I think I want to say it's the radiator, the location of the holes. I think we could get all 3 bottom holes right there. We can get that one. It's pretty much this corner is going to be the one that's off. And there's not a lot of give because if we go either way, we're going to lose that. And what it is it's almost like the holes are either too close, where the actual welded on pieces where they bolt are off-centered, or they're too close. So it looks like I may only get 2 bolts in on the top. We'll be close. I might be able to squeeze that in there, maybe. We'll just have to look once we get the bolts out and get everything together. But a couple $100, I've got an aluminum radiator and a OEM fan, and I'm ready to fix my whole front piece with my IS300. When I buy this stuff and put it in my IS300, if me putting it out to somebody else, a friend, somebody watching the video, would I tell you to buy this? If you want to save money, yes, you can. This will work. We can make this work. On the radiator, visually, it looks like it may have some imperfections, but ultimately, if it don't leak, that's what we're going for. So if it doesn't leak, we're okay. If it does leak, then we're gonna have to go somewhere and have it aluminum welded or something of that caliber, because I would be willing to bet a lot of these companies won't take some of this stuff back. We will, if we do have a leak, we will try that avenue. We'll keep you informed. But like I say, ultimately, as long as the welds hold, that's the ultimate goal. And we are gonna have to do a little work down here to notch this. Maybe not. It may, what the world, guys? We may get it close. It's close as far as fitment. Well, this side is actually touching the radiator, so we're gonna have to shim it out with a washer or something, because this fan is literally laying on the, yeah, we're gonna have to notch it and clean it up a little bit, but it's not something that just an average guy or girl, car person, couldn't figure out with just a few shims, a razor knife, trimming some of the plastic. Yeah, I don't think we'll have any issues. I think it's something we can get around, versus we would generally have, I would say $800 in this setup versus $200 if we went higher end. And there's no guarantees that the $400 aluminum radiator is going to be perfect either, because, you know, I've seen some high-end stuff have some, you know, even more so worse welds than this type of thing. There is imperfections in it, but ultimately, if it holds, we're good. But yeah, we're gonna have to do a little work on it, so keep in mind, you may have to do a little adjusting. You may not be able to get all your bolts in. May have to cut a notch out for the radiator hose. May have to put a couple of washers in just to set it out off of the, keeping it from hitting the radiator. But yeah, overall, I think I would be okay saying that I would be comfortable referring you to buy these particular parts that we've bought. Like I say, the G Plus radiator, it looks 1 to 10, I would say a 7. You know, but at the same time, like I said a couple times already, as long as it doesn't leak. And then ultimately the the fan shroud itself, it looks great. I mean, it looks great. Now the location of the fan, where it's kind of almost touching the radiator, actually it is touching the radiator, that could be a combination of the cheaper type fans with the actual stem that goes into the motor having a little slack and the fan moving down. So that's not necessarily the radiator's fault, but at the same time, it may not be the fan shroud, it may be the radiator. But either way, without comparison, you know, apples to apples, taking the original stuff off, comparing, measuring, seeing 100%, putting the factory one onto this, the actual one that came on it, and then we would know a little more whether it's the radiator or not. But overall, would I buy this stuff? Would I suggest to somebody to buy this stuff as far as replacing their factory stuff for the money? Absolutely. Again, we'll have to see if we have a leak or anything on that radiator, how they'll warranty that. But I would, like I say, I bought high-end stuff and it leaked too. But yeah, we're gonna give it a go. And I from visually, I would suggest it. I would be confident saying that somebody would be okay buying these products. Again, that's the G Plus radiator, and just an off-brand fan shroud and assembly, which, you know, there's imperfections. It's cheap stuff, so you can't hold me to it, for one, and you can't just be up in arms yelling, screaming, oh, what a piece of crap. Well, if you didn't want any type of questionable items, buy higher end stuff. I mean, because a lot of times your higher end quality is higher end for a reason. So a lot of times you get what you pay for. So, but this is more of a demonstration type thing, and having so many cars, we're not going to spend a fortune on them. Now you'll see, ultimately I'll pick out one of my cars and I'll start doing a build at some point, and that's when we'll start doing the high end stuff. There won't be any question of the brand. But for the just putting cars together and flipping them and all that, that's when we're going to do this cheaper type stuff, and kind of give you some information on those. But so far so good. We've not had a lot of stuff that just was horrible. We had some stuff that had some imperfections, but we've not had anything that just was an absolute waste of money at this point. Now, who's to say, you know, once we start installing a couple of these things, that there's just too much going on that's wrong. But again, as long as this radiator doesn't leak, I couldn't see that this is a problem. All right, that's what's in the box for today. Follow us at Chesser Enterprises on Instagram. We're on Facebook at Chesser Motorsports. Be on the look for us. We're on Twitter now. We did set up that account. It's Chesser 2015. Follow us on YouTube. Stay with us on YouTube. You like, subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that. And then if you want to stay with our videos and want to, you know, kind of keep up with us and watch some of our videos, the little bell, just hit that bell and you'll get the notifications the next time that we post something, and you can hang out with us and watch our videos and kind of experience some of the things we're working on. We are starting the drift thing. We actually, at this point, you may have already seen some of the drift stuff. We're doing some of the drift stuff. If you haven't seen that yet, keep looking for some of that. We do have a 350Z. We've got it getting set up to do the drift world. We're gonna go headlong into it with the welded diff, and do the whole 350Z drift thing, entry level. So you'll get to experience that with us at the beginning stages. So hang in there with us, guys. We got a lot more coming. Thank you.